Okay, to start with, I am going to be using masa that I thawed from the freezer. This is leftover masa that I made for tamales. And for those of you that have not seen the Cook With Me video where I make different kind of tamales with my mom, I will leave the link in the description below and at the end of this video. Basically, I did bean and cheese, which you see here, and I also filled my tamales with a chile colorado recipe video that I made, and I did some shredded chicken in a red chili sauce that was left over from the chile colorado. And after making all of the tamales, we had a Ziploc bag left over of the masa. Now what I'm doing today is somewhere between a cross of a gordita, a pupusas, or even a sope. I'm basically going to take this masa, shape it into my hand, fill it with cheese, and cook it on my griddle. I'm without a stove today. For those of you that know that I'm in the process of trying to sell my house and get things organized, I'm sans stove, so I'm using an electric griddle. So right here, basically you'll notice the masa after it thaws, it kind of separates and gets crumbly, so I'm trying to mix it vigorously to get it into a smooth consistency. Remember, there's lard in this masa, so you have to work it to sort of warm it through and mix it smooth. So that is mixed. Now I'm showing you here that I will be using some white cheddar cheese. Here I have a sharp or an extra sharp cheddar cheese. You can use the cheese of your choice or filling of your choice. I'm just using cheese. So I'm going to set up my griddle, just plug this in, and it's very convenient, by the way, when I don't have a stove. I even cook breakfast on here. I'm going to set it to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a good temp to slowly cook these, because you don't want to fry these quickly, because then you will have a nice exterior. It might look golden brown and crispy, but the interior will be raw. So this is going to take some time, just like when you make pupusas or gorditas or sopes. So here I'm adding some oil, and I probably didn't need to add this much because again, there is lard in the masa, but I just kind of got ahead of myself. And here is what I'm using. This is safflower oil. Use the oil of your choice, but I know sometimes you guys want to see what I use. Okay, so at this point, my griddle is pretty much preheated. So now I'm going to start forming my masa patties for the sake of not offending anyone who is an enthusiast of gorditas, pupusas, or sopes. So let's call them masa patties. Okay, so basically I'm just shaping them in my hand. I'm forming somewhat of a pancake, and then I'm going to fill it with cheese, enclose the cheese, and basically flatten it out again. By the way, sopes actually are not filled, so let's just get sopes out of the way. I know, I keep obsessing over what to call these things. Anyways, back to my masa here. As you can see, I am struggling to cover the cheese, but you know what? No big deal, because crusty golden cheese cooked on a griddle is delicious. So I do want it to cover most of it, but if a little bit's poking out, no biggie. So again, just flattening it in my hand, and I'm not going to flatten it all the way. It does help if you put it on the griddle and then sort of flatten it as you put it on the griddle. It kind of helps things. So when you're doing this, don't fret. It will get kind of sticky, but you know, let's just do the best we can. So again, going to turn and flatten on the griddle. That'll help. And then I'm just going to work on the next one. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, this first one has been on the griddle for about 5 minutes, so I'm just going to flip it. Oops, kind of flipped it into the oil there. So back to its spot and just going to give it a press. You can see some of the cheese oozing out. That's okay. Again, it goes back to the crustiness of a cooked cheese. It'll all just add texture to your masa patty. So again, this is going to take some time. This is not going to happen quickly because you want the interior to cook as well. So even though they look golden brown on the exterior, you want to make sure the interior is cooked. And once I get most of these on the griddle, I'm going to show you further in the video what to look for to start paying attention to the doneness of your masa patty. Okay, so here's what I was talking about earlier. As you can see, the cracking around the edges is one indicator of doneness, well, at least that the inside is cooking. Now, if you're cooking it at a lower temp, this is what you'll be looking for. Now, if it's at a high temp and deep in oil, it'll crack before the interior is cooked. So again, that's why you want to do things at certain temperatures and just watch for it. So these on the end, as you can see, this cheese has created a golden brown crust. See how it oozes out from the top? Eventually you flip it over and cook it, and it's going to basically crust over, and it's so delicious. I love those bits. And this one is pretty much done. These first four are pretty much done after I flip this one and let it cook for a little bit. And ultimately, your masa patties will be crusty. They will sort of be stiff. They're not going to be flexible, they're not going to be pliable. You want them to be stiff. That's another indicator that they are cooked through, because if they're too soft and pliable, that means they're raw in the middle. So I'm going to give the rest of these a flip and continue cooking. By the way, I'd like to mention that if you check the description below the video, I have tons of information and actually links to other videos that you might be interested in. For example, if you are watching this video and want to know how I made the masa, check for my Cook With Me Tamales video. And if you look at this video and say, I want to make pupusas, check the description below. I'll leave a link. So here is the end result. As you can see, they are not pliable. They are crispy, crunchy texture. They are firm, which is, again, another indicator of doneness in the center. And these are actually really hot, but I'm going to see if I can break this open and show you the cheese on the inside. You can actually slice these open and fill them with other fillings like lettuce, tomato, salsa, beans, and it's a gordita. So I don't know what you want to call it, but it's feeding my family today, and I got to use leftovers. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.